Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Know What You're Involved in. And it's very important to know what you're involved in and know what comes with that package, so to speak, for lack of better words. Because a lot of times, I just speak in general on brothers, a lot of times you have individuals that come into this thing because they think it's, whether it's gang mentality, whether, they just want something to pertain to or belong to, whether it's a fad, whether it's just something that for the time being, makes them feel good, whether they've had a problem with a woman or with Esau, and they just for the moment feel that comfort because we either cursing Esau or cursing a woman out or whatever the case may be. But then after that, they don't really understand fully what they're involved in. And that's why dealing with this truth, know what you're involved in. You have to ask yourself these questions. Do I know what I'm involved in? What is the reason that I'm here? Why am I here? What is my purpose? And in that, you'll be able to better, understand what's going on, to be able to know what to do in whatever situation you find yourself in. And we know definitely the first thing that we do whenever we're in any situation, whether we're rejoicing, whether we're sorrowful, whether we're down and out, whatever the case may be, the first thing is we have to pray to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai to give us the solutions to our problems. Because at the end of the day, it's the Lord that's going to make things right. Now we counsel, like we'll go to brothers, talk to them about certain situations, certain problems, seeking counsel, in the ear from a man that's a wise man, that we consider to be wise, But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, whatever decisions are made are yours to finalize them, and you have to live with those decisions that you make. We can't live our lives based around what everybody else says. Like I said, I'm just speaking in general, because that's what happens a lot of time with Jake, all the tribes. We look for solutions in other people to help us with our problems. Our problems are our problems. Your problems are your problems. How you deal with your problems might be different than the way I deal with mine. But at the end of the day, we all got to come to that conclusion that brings us that peace, from within. That's what the scriptures say. Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of their times and strength of salvation. We're not just coming into this to be followers. We're coming into this thing to be teachers and leaders. Like the Apostle Paul told Timothy to find faithful men that will be able to teach others, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about learning, and learning not just to store the knowledge like some individuals do, learning to be able to teach others also, to teach ourselves, to learn how to apply the things that we've learned, in our everyday lives, and I'll just say this, speaking in general, we're not marriage counselors. We're not here every time you and your woman, or every time a brother and his woman, or a sister and her husband fall out, to come to the different brothers in the different camps seeking solutions to your marital problems, so to speak. If you're looking for that, you might as well go to IUIC or ISUPK, or one of them other groups that'll give you, that don't mind sitting there for hours based off of the decision that you made, the person that you decided to be with. You know, because at the end of the day, you're lying down with that person. You know, nobody else is. You're lying down with that person. So you have to make those decisions on your own. You know, here it is. You get with you get with an individual, whether it's a brother with a sister or a sister with a brother, whatever the case may be, and then things start going sour, and then now you want to involve, another third party into your mess, so to speak. You know, it doesn't work like that. You know, because at the end of the day, let's say you go to somebody, right, and you ask them for advice on something. I'm gonna get a quick precept, after I make this point. You go and ask them advice or something, and you look at, or you esteem this person as a wise person, otherwise you wouldn't have went to them for advice. So then here it is, they give you advice, right? Let's just say, hypothetically, they give you advice, and the advice they give you at the time may seem to be a good advice. And you go ahead and you apply that advice based off of the trust that you have for them as being a wise counselor, so to speak. And then the decision that you make turns around and backfires on you. What do you think is going to happen? You're not going to blame yourself. You're going to blame the person that gave you the advice. So that's why at the end of the day, whatever decisions are made are yours to make. That's why you have to have the ultimate decision making, And I'll give you an example. Years ago, I'll never forget this. Years ago, back to the 90s, I remember one time I was going through a situation with my woman. I was young in the truth, so I went to Elder Pastor, and as soon as I started speaking, and he knew that I was asking him something about me and my woman, as soon as he perceived that, he said, "Look, brother, that's between you and your woman." And I tried to say it. He said, "Look, brother, that's between you and your woman." And from that point, I understood that, yeah, so it ain't about me trying to go to a brother to find out or get counsel on my woman, because that's between me and her. You see, so this is what you have to come to that conclusion. We can be spiritual advisors, breaking scriptures down, or you might be going through a situation, brothers try to help each other out. But at the end of the day, brothers are not marriage counselors. Brothers are not here to fix your marital problems. That's what IUIC likes to do. They like to meddle in other men's matters, which that's the scripture we're going to get. Now the scriptures speak about these women, right? They go through certain situations. They have problems with their husband. And what they'll do is they'll go and tell this woman and that woman and this one and that one and this one and that one. Before you know it, all your business is out there. When the problem that's happening is between you and your husband. See? So that's why in 1 Timothy 5 it says, and withal they learn to be idle. And that's the worst thing that a woman can be, is idle. Just sitting around doing nothing. It says, wandering about from house to house. Yeah, because they get bored and they start going to this one's house and to that one's house, commiserating with this one, commiserating with that one. And not only idle, but tattlers also. See, tattlers. Matter of fact, let's get that word tattlers. I don't think I personally ever looked that word up. But tattlers, when you tattle, is like when you talking too much. And there's certain things that are between you and your man, and there's certain things that are between you and your woman. 1 Timothy chapter 5, and that's verse 13, I believe. The word there is fluados, of persons uttering or doing silly things, garrulous, babbling, of things foolish, trifling, vain. Yeah, you just run in your mouth, without without, because you have wise women that speak, and say certain things, but when you just start babbling, then that's not good. You're going on and on about this and about that, and then before you know it, everybody knows your business, and you're mad because everybody's talking about you behind your back, you and your man, and or you and your woman, or whatever the case is. Well, you should have kept that between the two of y'all, because at the end of the day, when the lights go out, it's just you and that person, somewhat of an inside joke. But at the end of the day, it's between the two of y'all. All right, so now it goes on to say, but tattlers also and busybodies, speaking things which they ought not. See, they're giving out all of this information, and pretty much before you know it, everybody knows your problems. So the word busybodies is pediergos, busy about trifles and neglectful of important matters. Beautiful. See, you're talking about shit that don't have any business in anybody else's ears, and you're neglecting the very important things that you should be, especially busy about other folks' affairs. A busybody, yeah. So not only are you talking about your bullshit, but you're talking about other people's bullshit. Of things impertinent and superfluous, magic arts. That goes into something else. All right, and it goes on to say, I will therefore that the younger women married bear children, guide the house, give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully, but some are already turned after Satan. And this goes both ways. It goes for men and it goes for women. So let's get into the first precept that I have on the list, and that's in the book of Luke, because the lesson is know what you're involved in. I remember years ago on the comment board, I don't know if it was an actual comment that was posted on, I believe it may have been on the comment board of a particular video. It could have been a private message, that the individual sent me. I don't really fully remember, this was so long ago, but the person was like, I've been telling the truth, to my family, and they're coming against me, man. I mean, they're just all coming against me, they're not accepting it. And I'm reading the comment, and I'm like, bro, don't you know what you're involved in? The scriptures say that that's going to happen. That the Father's going to come, there's going to be a division because of this word, because it's very controversial. So that at that moment, that let me know that that individual really did not know what he was involved in. He just saw something that sounded good, and he just jumped on it without even thinking about, what is involved in it. And then all of a sudden, when the shit starts stinging them, then they're wondering, like, what the hell is going on? That's why it's important to know what you're involved in. And we say that time and time again. A lot of you don't understand what you're involved in. This is a fad to you. This is something that makes you feel good for the moment. This is, you had a frustrating day with your boss or with your woman or with your man or whatever the case is. So you come to the videos to let off some steam. But you really don't know what you're involved in. This is why the scriptures speak about being grounded. All right, so this is the book of Luke chapter 14, verse 25, right? It says, and there went great multitudes with him, and he turned and said unto them, if any man come to me, and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sister, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. Because listen, when you come into this truth, you're going to lose things. You're going to lose jobs. You're going to lose prestige. You're going to lose friends. You're going to lose, in certain cases, you're going to lose your woman, your children. You're going to, sisters that come into this, and they may lose their husband and their children, And that's what's going to happen. This is a part of it. Now, the scriptures speak about the unbelieving husband and the unbelieving wife, right? And It says if they please to dwell with you, then be with them. But if they want to depart, let them depart. You know, because at the end of the day, you have to attend unto the Lord. Let me see if I can find that. That's in 1 Corinthians. You have to attend unto the Lord without distractions. And although women are a distraction, you know, there's certain brothers that can have a family, deal with their family, and still be able to function in this truth. Whether they just have a woman and no children, or whether they have a woman with children, so on and so forth. You know? This is 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 35. And this I speak for your own profit, not that I may cast a snare upon you, but for that which is comely, and that you may attend upon the Lord without distraction. See? So that you attend upon the Lord without distraction. Now, if you have a woman and children, you know, and this really more so goes for the men. You know, if you have a woman and children, but you're able to still do the bidding of the Lord, beautiful. You know, do that. But if this woman is getting in your way and giving you ultimatums and causing you so much grief that you can't focus on the truth, and it's taken away from your devotion to the Lord, there's a problem there. And eventually that problem is going to get worse. So you have to make a conscious decision within yourself of what are you going to do with that situation. Because if she is affecting your spiritual growth, then you're going to have to make a decision as to what you're going to do. Be with that woman and risk losing the truth, or are you going to cut that woman off for the sake of your spiritual welfare? And like I said, I'm speaking in general, you know. So if you happen to be the individual that's being identified in this lesson, then hey, take heed. So the word there for distraction is aperispastos, without distraction, without solicitude or anxiety or care. Now let's look up the word distraction in a common dictionary. Let's look up the word distraction in a common dictionary and let's see what it says. Bear with me while it loads up. Distraction. Mental turmoil. An obstacle to attention. See, an obstacle to attention means that your focus is not where it should be, because you have this obstacle in your way that's keeping you from the goal at hand, which is, you know, that where your attention should be. And the more this obstacle hinders you, the further your attention is going to be from the goal and the mission. So you have to make a distinction. You have to make a mental conscious decision as to what you're going to do. You know, are you going to serve the Lord, or are you going to serve your woman? I mean, you could use the sisters there too, but more so for the brothers, because the brothers are the teachers. You know. So let's see what else it says. It says, an entertainment that provokes pleased interest and distracts you from worries and vexations, the act of distracting, drawing someone's attention away from something. Yeah. And then it goes synonyms: interruption, complications, disturbance, you know, confusion, interference, diversion. So they're diverting your attention away from the goal at hand, which is the truth. All right. That's why it says, going back to Luke 14 and 26, if any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. Why? Because we have to tend unto the Lord without distraction. Now there's going to be stuff that's going to come our way, obstacles that we're going to have to deal with, and not every obstacle you can just throw out the way, you know, and this is where prayer comes into play. You see? It says, and whosoever doth not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. And that's what Yahushua said. And he means what he says. This is written in red. And coming into this truth, we have to remember that we're coming against the powers and principalities of this world. So if we're speaking against the principalities of this world, if we're not bowing down to them, what do you think is going to happen? Those demons are going to attack us. You know? And they're going to do whatever they can to make our lives a living hell, so to speak. And what brothers have to learn too out there is that, look, we all got problems. Sometimes brothers think that they're the only ones that got problems. Like, oh my God, you know, this situation, other brothers are going through some shit. Brothers are going through different shit. See? But sometimes brothers don't consider that. You know, they don't think about, well, this man going through this, so let me not bother him with this because this is something I got to deal with on my own. And they pile up more burdens on a brother that's already going through shit. Now the scriptures say, bear you one another's burdens, but when it comes to family matters, for lack of better words, that's between you and your woman. That's between you and your husband. At the end of the day, nobody else is laying down with those people but you. See? And like I said, I'm just speaking in general. It says, for which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counteth the cost? And see, this is what a lot of individuals are not doing. And are not, that really don't care for. Because at the end of the day, as long as the truth caters to their needs and their wants and their life, they're cool with it. But as soon as you have a curveball coming, like, oh shit, you know, what's this all about? When it starts getting uncomfortable, then they don't want to deal with it anymore because they don't know what they're involved in. I was gonna go to this scripture later, but let me just get the one point out of here, and then we'll come back to it, Lord's will. 1 Peter 4:12, it says, beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. Yeah, because you're acting like what you're going through is something strange. When you reading the scriptures, you're breaking the scriptures down, you're telling other people what they got to go through, you're cursing other people out, but then when it comes on you, you're like, you're not handling it the way that you're cursing these other people out, you know, for what they're going through. And we got to realize that, you know, it doesn't come overnight either. You know, you're not going to be able to snap your finger and then you're an expert at it. This is where experience comes in, meaning to be tried out, you know, and that experience, you know, comes over a period of time. Trials, tribulations, going through things, you know. So there's another precept that came to mind. Let's see if this one, right. 1 Peter 5:8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. Whom resist steadfast in the faith. So how do you resist them? Being steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. So brothers are going through shit too. But sometimes brothers get selfish and don't think about other brothers and the things that they might be going through, you know, just to, you know, throw their burdens on them. Now don't get me wrong, if you go through things, there's nothing wrong with speaking to brothers about it. But if it's something that you can deal with on your own, why pile up more worries and more, you know, sorrow on a brother when you know that situation is your personal situation to deal with? This is the book of 1 Corinthians 10:13. There hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to men. See, so everything that we go through is common to man. And there's different levels to the heat and to the hell. But the Most High is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able. See, so the Lord is not going to put more on a brother or a sister than they can handle. And you have to remember that all of these things that are happening to someone else. And some brothers and sisters are going on through it at a higher level, and some not as high because their level of faith is not able to handle that heavy load. But other brothers whose faith is stronger can handle certain things. It says, but will, with the temptation, also make a way to escape that you may be able to bear. Because at the end of the day, the Lord didn't call us into this for our destruction. He called us into this for our salvation. You know, so the Lord is not going to beat us down to the point where we're destitute and just have no more will. Because the thing with afflictions and trials and tribulations is to build a person up mentally. Knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. You know, I use the analogies a lot of sports and different things that you have to sacrifice for. You know, you have to go through that rigorous training in order to get the benefit. But if you don't go through the rigorous training, you know, and that pain and agony, and what they say, no pain, no gain, you're not going to be able to get the benefits that you're looking for, because you're not willing to subject yourself to the discipline that it takes, you know, to get there. You see? And when we speak from experience, man. You know, and I know I've you know, been a burden to brothers, overburdened to brothers when I was, you know, younger in the faith, you know, and, you know, bringing my problems to them and this, that, and the other, you know, but I had to learn how to curb that, because I had to be understanding that these brothers are going through shit too. So I gotta not be a shoulder strap on them, you know. Inside joke, but it's true. I gotta learn not to be a shoulder strap on them brothers, you know, because they got their own shit that they got to deal with. You know, now, like I said, we're here for each other. You know, we'll try to help brothers out. Scripture say, bear you one another's burdens. But there's certain things, especially when it comes to relationships, that are personal things, you know. And I'm telling you, if you give a man advice about his woman, I'm just speaking in general, if you give a man advice about his woman, and he takes the advice, and he follows what you tell him, and shit don't work out, you better believe that man's going to be looking at you sideways. You see? He's going to be looking at you sideways. No, I ain't gonna. You're going to be looking at you sideways. Because he came to you because he respected your wisdom and your knowledge and your counsel, but then what you told him didn't work for him. Because that's what you would have done. But that's what may have worked for you, but may not have worked for him. Now you got to be worried about him looking at you sideways and mad at you because the thing that you told him didn't work out, and him and his woman ended up breaking up anyway, or whatever the case was. See what I'm saying? But now he's looking at you like, mother, you know? That's why the scriptures say, meddle not with another man's. Matter of fact, let's get that. I was trying to save that for later, but let's get it now. Let's get that now. Let's go to 1 Peter chapter 4, which we were just there. And I'm going to read a few verses in this. It's got a lot of meat in it. 1 Peter 4 and 11. We're going to start there. If any man speak, let us speak as the oracles of the Most High. And that's why we always want to go back to the precepts in the scriptures and bring that out. Because that's where the power is. That's what builds the fire and makes the fire grow. Whether you're reading it or speaking scripturally. Because you could speak scripturally and still throw the coals in the fire, and the wood in the fire, so to speak. You know? But the point is to go to the scriptures. It says, if any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which the Most High giveth, that the Most High in all things may be glorified through Yahushai, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. So be true, because at the end of the day, it's for the glorification of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, not ourselves. Because who are we? Think about where we came from, where we were at. You know, whether brothers was into the church or not. Where were we at? We were gone. We were lost in this world. You know? But then the Lord brought us into this by opening up our understanding. So everything that we do should be for the glorification of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and the thanks and gratitudes that we have for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai for giving us this truth, for waking us up, for pulling us away from this world, from the madness of this world. You see? So it says, beloved, think it not strange concerning the fire trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you, but rejoice inasmuch as you are partakers of Yahushai's sufferings. Because remember what the disciples did when they got beat for the name of Yahushai, right? They weren't lamenting. That's how I don't know about this, man. It's kind of rough, man. Shit, fucking got all kind of lumps on my head and shit. I'm looking at you, your eye blacked out. You know, one of your teeth is missing. When that centurion hit you with that club in your mouth. I don't know about this, man. I ain't signed up for this. Because that's what a lot of people would do. I ain't signed up for this, man. You know, you got a man over there stitched up, got a concussion from, you know. But what did they do? They got beat, and then they went and they rejoiced that they were worthy to suffer for Yahushai's sake. Now, what type of mentality do you have to be able to function in that way? And it's definitely an inspiration from the heavens. You know, that has to be upon an individual to be willing to subject himself to that type of pain. You know, to that type of thinking. Because in this society, the average person would not subject themselves to that. But see, now if they're trying to get into a career, whatever it may be, you know, technology, sports, financial, whatever, they'll be willing to subject themselves to any pain they got to go through to achieve that level of success. But they won't do it for the Lord. You see? That's why the Apostle Paul said they do it to obtain a corruptible crown. But the incorruptible crown, most people are not willing to subject themselves to that because you can't see it with the physical eyes. But with the spiritual eyes, we can see it. And we know it's coming, you know? So it says that when his glory shall be revealed, you may be glad also with exceeding joy. But this is the point here. If you be reproached for the name of Yahushai, happy are ye. For the spirit of glory and of the Most High resteth upon you. So why do we go through what we go through? Why is it that we suffer the things that we suffer? Because the glory of the Lord rests upon us. And when we're trying to do things for the Lord, whether it be trying to teach a lesson or whatever it is that we're trying to do, there's obstacles in the way that try to hinder you. Whether it's physical obstacles or just stuff that comes into your head. You might have a very good lesson to teach, a very edifying lesson, but them spirits will try to put doubt in your mind as to, nah, you don't really want to go into that. You know, it's, you know, you're not really in the spirit. You know, just forget about that. You know, you're wasting your time talking about. So that's the battle. You know, it says, on their part he is evil spoken of, but on your part he is glorified. Yeah, because they're persecuting us because the spirit is lying on us and not on them. But on our part, the things that we go through is to the glorification of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, because we're speaking well of the Lord. And that's why we suffer for it. I believe, therefore have I spoken. I was greatly afflicted. See? But let none of you suffer as a murderer, or as a thief, or as an evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's matters. And see, when it comes to relationships between a man and his woman, those are personal matters, men's matters, other men's matters. Has nothing to do with other individuals. Doesn't matter how much of a guru this individual thinks he is, or how much experience he may have, or how many women he's been with, how many relationships he's been with or in. Doesn't matter. That's personal business between man and woman. And this is where a lot of conflict, a lot of problems come when you have men that get involved in other men's personal life as far as their women and children are concerned. It causes problems. You know? It causes problems. And you have certain individuals that use that, and it's, oh, you having problems with your woman? Oh yeah, I'll help you out. Because they're trying to move in on you, because they might like your woman, they might like the way she looks, you know, and they might try to be moving in, so they're trying to do whatever they can to sabotage that relationship. You see? So you have to be careful with who you talk to and tell about your personal information when it comes to your woman or your husband or whatever the case is. You know? And another thing too, we know that the man is the head, no doubt. You know? But this is what the scriptures say too, because a lot of times brothers tend to, you know, for any little thing, you know, they flipping out, you know, when it's not that serious. And then if the woman gets tired, you know, of that situation, which most women will, because these women are not, you know, they're not down for the cause, so to speak, most of them. And then she ends up leaving. And then this individual is all messed up. Because this is what the scriptures say, Ecclesiasticus 4:30, be not as a lion in thy house. You know, not every little thing, you know, you're always screaming and yelling. The scriptures say to deal with them according to wisdom. You know, there's ways around certain situations. Now, if there's some blatant bullshit going on, you know, the bitch trying to cook a goddamn pork chop, and you know, look, you know, and this is your house. She doesn't have her own house. She's in your house. That's a different story. Bitch trying to put up a Christmas tree, you know. And I mean, you may tolerate it, you may not. It depends on you, you know. But if this is your house, you're the king of that castle, you know. But if it's, you know, just trivial things, you know, every 5 minutes, you know, you want the bitch to be at attention. When you walk in the room, she just got to stop what she's doing and just salute you. No, come on, man. Because we're not in a perfect world. Because you'll have instances like that, and then brothers, you know, their women get tired and leave, and then they boo-hooing, you know? And I'm just, like I said, I'm speaking in general. I'm not saying anything specifically about anybody, because I don't know everybody's business like that, neither do I want to know. The business between relationships is between the two individuals. You know? This is really not something that should be brought out of that union. Because the Most High put that union together. It says, whatever the Most High put together, let no man put asunder. You see, and by you going to brothers based off of your relationship, you know, let's say the brother said, well, leave the bitch. Now what? You leave the bitch, then all of a sudden you can't deal with it. You're all messed up in the mind. You know, your mind is all fried and frazzled and dazzled, you know. What are you going to do now? See, that's why the decision has to be yours. And that's pretty much it on that. So let's go back to Luke. Matter of fact, you know what? Let me see what some of these other... Now, you know what? We'll go back to Luke after, Lord. So let's go to Hebrews 6. What the hell are you doing there, man? Hebrews 6:4. For it is impossible for those who were once enlightened and have tasted of the heavenly gift and were made partakers of the Holy Spirit and have tasted the good word of the Most High and the powers of the world to come, if they shall fall away, to renew them again unto repentance, seeing they crucified to themselves the Son of the Most High afresh and put him to an open shame. Yeah, because we were brought into this thing to receive salvation, you know. And some brothers come into the truth with a woman, end up losing that woman for the most part. Some brothers meet a woman in the truth, and sometimes they lose that woman in the truth, you know. So it all depends. It all depends, on the situation. Right? So verse 7. For the earth which drinketh in the rain that cometh oft upon it, and bringeth forth herbs, meat for them by whom it is dressed, receiveth blessings from the Most High. Why? Because if you plant something and it gets watered, gets the proper sunshine, moonlight, whatever it needs, there should be some type of fruit that grows from it. So if we put in the work for the Lord, there's going to be a benefit from it. Because we're doing it for the blessings of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And the Spirit is moving us to do it. It says, but that which beareth thorns and briars is rejected and is nigh unto cursing, whose end is to be burnt. Just like Yahushai cursed that fig tree. You see? And pretty much, if you're not building for the Lord, like he said, if he that gathereth not with me scattereth abroad. So the Lord can't use an individual like that. That's why the scriptures speak about counting the cost, which Lord's will get back to that. I don't remember what verse we left off, but Lord's will get back to that. It says, but beloved, we are persuaded better things of you, and things that accompany salvation, though we thus speak. Yeah, because sometimes you have to speak this way. Why? Because it's scriptural. There are certain topics that are uncomfortable, that you don't really like to talk about too much. But they're necessary to speak about because they are a part of the scriptures. It says, and then, because things of this world are distractions, especially when it comes to a woman and children. And in some cases, some brothers, it might be their father, their mother, their aunt, their cousin, their sister, brother, whatever. Anything that can pull you away from the truth. That's not good, man. That's why we always pray to the Lord, take not that Holy Spirit away from me, pretty much to keep us, always, so it's, woo, man. It says, for the Most High is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which you have shown towards his name. And how do we show this love towards the Lord's name in this work? It says, in that you have ministered to the saints and do minister. So there's a reward coming. You lost a woman, hey, you're going to get 100-fold. What did the Lord say? Let's get that real quick. Let's go to Matthew. And it ain't easy. I speak from experience. It's not an easy thing, especially, if you're an individual that gets attached to a woman. Because once you're dealing with a woman, there's a particular emotion and feelings that grow with that. And to have that severed, it ain't easy. But hey, this is just a part of this walk. And we have to remember that the heartaches that we feel, imagine the heartaches we cause Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and really when we look at it that way, the heartaches that we feel, although to us it could be unbearable, really, it's nothing in comparison to how the Most High and Yahushai feel. So this is Luke chapter 19, verse 27. Then answered Peter and said unto him, behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? So pretty much the disciples forsook all. Yahushua said, if you don't hate your life also, you're not worthy to be my disciple. So that means that really there's nothing in this world really to hold on to except for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Now if the Lord bless brothers to be with their woman and stay with the woman and their children, beautiful. Because maybe the Lord feels, well, no, I can't take his woman and his children because that'll destroy him. But I'm going to do this. I'm going to take his job. Or I'm going to take this. I'm going to, do other things. You see? That's the other brothers. The Lord take their woman and their children. He's going to be messed up for a while, but he'll bounce back. I'll make sure of it. So it says, and Yahushua said unto them, verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, you also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And everyone, listen good, and everyone that hath forsaken houses, or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive an hundredfold, and shall inherit everlasting life. And why did Yahweh mention these? There's other things, but these are the main close family members and close things to an individual, you know, that means something to them, that they're not willing to part with for anything. Because you have some people out there that no matter what, they're not going to give up their woman, they're not going to give up their children, they're not going to part with whatever they're doing to sacrifice themselves to the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. It's just not going to happen. Because this is the spirit the Lord put upon them, and we have to understand that. You see? So I want to look up this word forsaken. That was in verse 29. Matthew 19:20. I just want to look that up real quick. Get a better... I mean, we know what the word forsaken means, but just to get a... see what the actual word there is. Forsaken. Nope, I hit the wrong one. I already knew that wasn't the one. Forsaken. Afi-ami, to send away, see? To bid going away or depart. Of husband divorcing his wife, to send forth, yield up, to expire, to let go, let alone, let be. You know, old adage. You don't know what the word adage means? Look it up. Look it up. The old adage is, if you love something, let it go. If it comes back, it was yours. But if it don't come back, it was never yours to begin with. You know, and that's pretty much the ultimate thing that we have to put into our mental Rolodex. You know, it's like, look, there's different levels of love. Salaki. That sounded crazy, but there's different levels of love. You know, there's a right and a wrong way. Now, let me stop. There's different levels of love, you know. You have love for the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, for His words. You have the love for your woman, your children. You have your love for the brothers, you know, so on and so forth. And although they're all based off of sentiments and emotions, they're all different. The love a man has for a woman is different for the love that a man has for his brother. You see? Because there's different types of love. The devotion and love that one has for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is different than anything else. You see? So, now let's go, where were we at? Let's go back to Hebrew. You know what? The 8th verse, I read that. Let me read the 8th verse again, Hebrews 6 and 8. But that which beareth thorns and briars is rejected and is nigh unto cursing, whose end is to be burned. So I have a couple of precepts here. I just want to see what they say. So just bear with me. Oh no, I messed up on that one. I did mess up on that. That's all right. This is based off of 1 Peter 4, where it was dealing with meddle not with other men's matters. I should have went to this one, but that's all right. Ecclesiastes 11 and 9. Strive not in a matter that concerneth thee not, and sit not in judgment with sinners. My son, meddle not with many matters, for if thou meddle much, thou shalt not be innocent. And if thou follow after, thou shalt not obtain, neither shalt thou escape by fleeing. Yeah, so pretty much, you don't want to meddle with many matters, because when certain things come up, you know, we get nervous because we want to make sure that we're giving the right judgment, you know, because we don't want the Lord to deal with us if we give a brother the wrong information or the wrong counsel. You see? So now the next one is in the 3rd chapter, Ecclesiasticus chapter 3 and verse 23. It says, be not curious in unnecessary matters, for more things are showed unto thee than men understand. And pretty much dealing with relationships, those are unnecessary matters for men to be involved in. You other brothers outside of the people that are involved in that relationship. All right. So let's go back to Luke 14, and pretty much we can finish out there. I mean, the point is pretty much made. Know what you're involved in. And know that there's a price to pay. I know there's all kind of precepts on it. I mean, nothing's really coming to mind right now, but this in Luke 14 is a very heavy precept, because it pretty much covers everything. So let's go back to Luke 14, and let's read 26 again. If any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and mother and brethren and sisters, yea, in his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Now, it doesn't mean to hate him, like I hate you. It means that you're not gonna. If we love the Lord, what are we gonna do? We're gonna keep His commandments. So if we hate our parents, so to speak, or our wife, or whatever, we're not gonna do what they want us to do if it is in direct confliction with the Most High and His laws, statutes, and commandments. All right. It says, and whosoever doth not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. And there's no excuse, because everything is written in the scriptures. For which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? Because we're in the building process, and there's a cost that has to be counted, and that's why the more we understand, like the scripture saying, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of their times and the strength of salvation. The more we understand, the better our foundation and the better our ability to deal with it is. Counteth. The word there is seifitzo, to count with pebbles, to compute. See, computing is what it says there, to calculate. Oh shit, I lost it. To calculate. Counteth. To calculate, reckon, see, to give one's vote by casting a pebble into the urn, to decide by voting. So what we're looking at is compute, calculating. Knowing that, look, I'm in this truth. The scripture says I'm going to lose my woman, I'm going to lose my job, I'm going to lose my status. Is that something that I can handle or I can deal with? And then there's ways, to build your faith by praying to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, That's the ultimate way. And then every trial and tribulation we go through makes us that much stronger. Hey, Jake have good sayings, but they're applying it, to carnal things. He said, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and it's true. But they're applying it and using it in the wrong fashion. So let's go back to Luke 14. It says, sitteth not down first and counted the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it, because the ultimate thing is what? Yahushua said, my meat is to do the will of my Father and to finish it. See? So there's a work behind, in front of us, should I say. And the reward comes at the finish line, not before. How many of you watch relay races or marathons or whatever, and as soon as a person starts running, all of a sudden they start handing out medals? The medals don't come until you cross the finish line. Same thing with the truth. It says, least happily after he hath laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold him begin to mock him. Yeah. Hey, because, Jake is cruel, man. And you will get, hey, did not Elijah mock the false prophets of Baal when they couldn't, they hear this, they built this altar, they had their sacrifices on it, and they're calling on their God, cutting themselves, to cause their false god Baal to send fire to lick up their sacrifice, and nothing happened. And Elijah was clowning them. It says, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. Or what king going to make war against another king sitteth not down first and consulteth whether he be able with 10,000 to meet him that cometh against him with 20,000. See? So it's about counseling, but in certain cases, like I said, when it's dealing with family, you got to consult with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man. You know? Because that is like the most personal thing, you know, that a man has, is the relationship between his family. Same thing with a woman. That's like the most precious thing she has, a relationship between her and her husband and her children. You know, of course, outside of the Most High, you know, in the relationship with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, which is the ultimate. But as far as personal things, I'm saying. Or else, while the other is yet a great way off, he sendeth an embassage and desireth conditions of peace. Yeah, because he knows that he's not able to finish. He knows he doesn't have enough because he was hasty and not first thinking about what he was doing. You know, just like Tony Montana. Oh, do you want to go to war? Okay, do you want to go to war? And here does he have what, a handful of men, and you going against a cartel. And that's where they got smoked. Because his little army, you know, he got big-headed beside himself. His little army was not able to take on that whole cartel. You know, I mean, that's a carnal, but that's, think of it, you know, think spiritually like that. It says, so likewise, whosoever he be of you that forsaketh not all that he hath, he cannot be my disciple. That's not an easy pill to swallow. That's what the scriptures speak about, the sweetness of the scriptures and the bitterness of the scriptures. Once the bitterness starts to come in, it's like, oh, I don't know about this. Because most Jakes like to be in that comfort zone. You know, most Jakes are not in that grunt mentality. You know? And not every brother's like that, you know, because you got brothers that come in that are gentle. You got brothers that come in that are already rough. You know, they can bite through nails. You know, so, you know, they don't have a problem when it comes to that. There's brothers that are aggressive. You know, that have, you know, that warrior spirit. And what the truth does, it tunes it up. You know, it polishes it more. But there might be other areas that they have to work on. And the spirit does certain things with that so they can work on that. Other brothers are meek, gentle. You know, they're weak. But then eventually through the spirit, they start building up. You know, not every brother's a warrior. You know, not every warrior is a brother, you know. But, you know, you have different walks in this, you know, and the Lord is polishing up his gems, bringing them through the fire and molding them and polishing them up for his special treasures, you know, that he's preparing them for, you know. And, you know, this is why it's important to understand what you're involved in, you know, and the more you understand, you know, the better it is to deal with. Because with much knowledge cometh much sorrow. But with that sorrow, there also comes a comfort that what we're doing is not in vain. See? So everything comes with a cost. You know, it just depends on your situation. You know? So with that, this has been Know What You're Involved In. You know, I pray that this lesson was edifying and comforting to some. You know, I hope it may have helped others in certain situations that they may be dealing with, you know. And at the end of the day, you know, that's what the truth is about. You know, it's about building up and edifying. So with that, I pray that your brothers have been edified. Till the next time I say shalom.